and welcome to the Epic Marketing Show. Today we're going to be talking about the 5 cognitive biases you need to understand because they will be impacting your marketing. So, got a lot to cover today. I've got my tea, make sure you've got yours. So let's get cracking with these biases. Number 1 is the anchoring effect. So the anchoring effect is the tendency to kind of use the first piece of information that you see and kind of spend too much attention on that first piece of information. So you'll get one piece of information and you'll anchor yourself to that piece of information. And what people tend to do is they tend to use it as a measurement for information that comes after the bit. So how that affects you is generally what you tend to see is when you've got pricing blocks. If you have the lowest price first, that's the price people anchor in their mind. So they anchor the lowest price, and when they're comparing it to the next prices, the prices look increasingly more expensive. Ways marketers often get around this is putting the most expensive price first, or putting a medium price first, and then kind of anchoring that next to the kind of more reasonable prices. So you can use this in your marketing by helping you understand exactly how you're presenting your information, because it's not just in pricing. It's things like the people who come number 1 on Google. If someone is searching for something really specific and they consume one piece of information first, what you'll find is that all the other bits of information are going to be measured against that. That's totally okay if yours is better, but if your information is not as good as the information they've seen previously, they're going to disregard your information more than probably. Number 2 is the ambiguity bias. The ambiguity bias is the tendency for people to avoid options where the choices either aren't clear or they're not complete. So if your content isn't exactly clear and you don't have everything labeled out nicely, basically people might just leave. This is especially important when it comes to choosing certain products and comparing them. So if somebody else has a very comprehensive list of features and benefits, and another company has a comprehensive list and your list isn't complete, you might just be disregarded. Number 3 is the confirmation bias. This is the tendency for people to search for, interpret, focus, and remember information that confirms their current worldview. It basically just means we're not a blank slate. We bring all of our own preconceptions with us, and we like to listen to the people that confirm what we're already saying. We don't want to hear what we don't want to hear, and that can really seriously affect your marketing. Combine this with the Semmelweis reflex, which is basically when new information comes out that contradicts your current paradigm or your current way of thinking, people might just totally ignore that information. Number 4 is the mere exposure effect. This is the tendency for us to have undue liking for things purely because we've seen it frequently. This is very often what big brands rely on with their advertising. Simply by seeing them over and over again means that we are more likely to buy them when we go into the shops. Now, this is particularly relevant for businesses to show up where your customers are. The more frequently you show up, the more likely they are to interact with you, and the more likely that interaction is to be positive. Number 5, the IKEA effect. Now, this is probably my favorite cognitive bias because it's ridiculous, but very, very true. So the IKEA effect is all about us placing a disproportionately high value on things that we have created, regardless of the quality of the end result. So in some classic experiments, they got people to build some IKEA furniture and then asked them how much they would sell it for. People put a much higher price point on the things that they had created themselves, even when it was compared to things that were better at a cheaper price point. So this is really important for us as creators. If you're creating a course or you're writing something like a book and you're creating stuff and putting it out in the world, you need to be really careful with yourself. Are you hiking the price point up because it really is of value, or are you hiking the price point up because you created it? So there we are. That's 5 cognitive biases that will be affecting your marketing constantly. Keep an eye out for them. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, you can do so below. But my big question to you is, how are you going to be planning for these cognitive biases in your own marketing? Please pop that in the comments below. I really enjoy hearing from you, and I'd love to start a discussion on something that we should all really be working on. Until next time, go forth and be epic.